Lovely to see everyone, and I think I definitely concur. It's been a big couple of years since we all had an opportunity to sit in the room together, and really grateful for the opportunity to be able to chat with everyone today. Now, I thought, if the clicker's going to be my friend, a little bit of background for those of you that don't know me, but I've worked in the Yellow Pages industry for almost 20 years. I've started out in sales, and the reason I still love my job today is the reason I loved my job 20 years ago. And I think every day I wake up and I know that we're playing a small part in the success of small businesses right across Australia. And for me, that's an incredibly rewarding mission that we have in life. And I think back when I was a consultant, you could tangibly see the impact that you were having. You'd go out and see a small business and they'd be working off their kitchen table, and then you'd watch them hire more staff and put branding on their trucks and move into a factory, and you could tangibly see that the role that we were playing was really supporting them and their success. And I think that's still the reason, sort of 20 years on, that I love my job. And since then I've gone on to have a variety of jobs across the organisation, but I think the piece that I'm most passionate about is our customers and servicing and supporting our customers. And I think reflecting back over the last couple of years, and it's been a challenging time to be a small business owner, not just in Australia, but right across the world. The pandemic changed a lot of things. It changed the way we interacted. Everyone became far more familiar with Zoom than they did with catching up in person. But I think it's lovely now on the other side of it to see things slowly starting to go back to normal, and I think today is kind of a testament of that, with everyone sort of sitting in the room together. But as an organisation, we've been around for a really long time, so I've been part of the journey for almost the past 20 years, but for 125 years we've been helping small businesses, and I'm sure we'll continue to do so for another 125 years, and the way in which we support them might have changed as technology's evolved and things have changed. But ultimately that mission has kind of stayed the same, and it's just been about supporting the people who are the backbone of the economy within Australia. Now, over that journey, things have definitely sped up. We obviously started out as a print organisation, and for the first 100 odd years it was all just about a print directory, and it was about connecting Australian consumers with small businesses. But over the last 20 years, things have continued to evolve and continued to change at a much more rapid rate. With the invention of online directories and websites, we then started to get into search engine marketing and social media, and over the last few years we've had the opportunity of being able to support business owners and small business owners with similar tools that large corporate organisations use. And for us as an organisation, what we really believe is that during the past 20 years, I think I might have gone past my slide, sorry, but over the past 10 years, large corporate organisations moved their operating systems to the cloud. It gave them an opportunity to be able to drive efficiency and automation into their business. And I think really, if you reflect back on the pandemic, had we not have made all of those really big, bold choices, we all would have really struggled leaving the office and working from home, but technology really enabled us to do so. Now we're in a business of supporting small business owners in being able to do similar things. And I think for me, it's a really noble cause, because small business owners deserve to have the same opportunities that large corporates do. And for us, I think it's really important that we continue to support small business owners. Apologies about my clicker. So as a business, almost 3/4 of small business owners today are utilising SaaS and technology and different automation tools to support their business. Most small business owners are working on average an additional day every single week, operating within their organisation. And a lot of that work is happening outside business hours. It's impacting them, and it's impacting their personal life, and it's impacting their time with their family. A small business owner got into business because he had a passion and a dream. And whether he's a mechanic and he had a love of cars, or whether she was a hairdresser and had a love of all things hair and beauty, the reason that people got into business wasn't to manage all of these different tools. It wasn't to be sending invoices and quotes and getting tied up in all of these other things. It was because they had a dream and they had a passion and they really wanted to pursue that passion. So for us, it's been really important to make sure that we continue to support the customers that have done business with us for a really long time. We wanted to make sure that we were able to support them the way that we had always supported them, but things had changed. And I think if I reflect on my 18-year-old son who's recently purchased a car, he did his research online, he communicated with car dealerships online, he purchased his car online and paid a deposit for the car without ever seeing the car. We then drove an hour or so away to go and take it for a test drive and make that purchase. But his entire journey was done online. It was done without communicating with anybody. And I think consumers are now trained and the public is now trained, and I think businesses have had to adapt to those changes. Granted, people continue to call them out of the phone book, and for us, we're incredibly proud of our directories business, and it's still a core part of our business today. But making sure that we're supporting business owners with technology and being able to ensure that they're accessible to the entire Australian market has been really important. I think the other piece is tools are so much better today, as lots of you in the room would know. 10 years ago, they were out of reach for small business owners. They weren't in a position to be able to access them. But today, those tools are far more accessible. They're built for small business owners, they're simple, they're easy to navigate, and it makes it much easier for a small business owner to make that step change. So if I put myself in kind of my son's experience and walk through, ours is really about supporting a small business owner across the entire journey, from when you're online, from when you're making that kind of search and deciding who to do business with, from when you start communicating with car dealerships or whatever business you're kind of inquiring, to making that appointment and going in and having a conversation, to being able to support that small business in sending out a digital invoice or a digital quote, so that my son knew the price he was paying and was able to pay a deposit for the car. To be able to make that transaction really simple and easy and seamless when it came to transacting from a payments perspective. But also then on the other side of it, and reminding business owners that it's incredibly important to get reviews. And it's also incredibly important to continue to communicate with your customers, because who knows, in a few years' time, my son's budget's going to be slightly bigger, and he's going to be spending a little bit more on an even better car, and we want to continue that relationship. So for us, it's all about supporting small business owners, driving growth into their business, being able to save time, and I think that's a really big one for me, because I think for us, understanding the impacts that running a business has on someone it's incredibly time consuming, and I think we've got lots of clients who've missed their sons and daughters' football games and basketball games and key moments that have happened in their life because they've been drowning in admin and paperwork and driving processes for their business that weren't quite the right processes. And for us, being able to help them save time and get organised and drive automation into their business, the ultimate goal is being able to get a text message of them at their son's game on a Saturday and being able to watch that football game is kind of a rewarding place to be. The other piece of kind of the puzzle for us, and it has been a really big piece of the puzzle, especially throughout the pandemic, is our staff. I think I'm incredibly lucky to work with an incredible bunch of people who are absolutely committed to the same kind of noble cause that I am and get up out of bed every day because supporting customers puts a fire in their belly. And I think being able to build the right culture, being able to build the right attitudes, being able to build a business of people who are absolutely committed to supporting our customers and will do all of the things to make sure that we do right by our clients is really important. So for us, it's about making sure that as a business we're accessible, that people can contact us. They can contact us anytime that they want to, whether it's on the weekend, whether it's at 10 o'clock at night. It's being able to have people who are truly committed to our clients so that when they call in, people respond to their inquiries and action their commitments and do all of the right things. And I think for us, it's being able to do things that allows our clients to do it on their terms, not our terms. But I think the piece that makes it all the more rewarding is when you get all of the feedback on the other side. The Pet Nanny is a business in Melbourne where I'm from. It was a new business. It started during the pandemic. And whilst he had a passion for pets and he kind of loved what he was doing, he had no social life. He was struggling to find clients. And the piece that he really loves is we helped him make it appear that he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing when it came to looking after people's pets and loving them and giving them all of the TLC. He didn't know what he was doing when it came to getting clients and invoicing them and quoting them. And so for him, we made him look like a professional business, and he was eternally grateful on the other side of it. Or a business like Breakwater Kitchens, which is just down the road from me on the way to Geelong, so a beautiful part of Australia, who is a kitchen manufacturer and has been around for years and years and years. But they were drowning in admin and they were drowning in inefficiencies, and by helping them drive efficiencies into their business, they were able to make a 7% improvement in their growth year on year, purely just attributed to the support that we gave them. Or a customer like Newell, which is in Townsville up in Queensland in Australia, who was at an event with us. And all of a sudden something had gone wrong within his business. Historically, he would have had to have left that event, gone back to his office and solved that problem. But all of a sudden he could do it from his pocket. And for him being able to solve those problems allowed him to spend time with his family where he wasn't necessarily having to turn around and drive back to the office every time something went wrong. And I think as a business, that's why we all get in business, because we really genuinely want to help people, and we know that what we're doing, we're in an industry of helping people and in the industry of helping small businesses. And so for me, making sure that we have a laser focus on our customer and our laser focus on our staff are probably the two most important kind of aspects of running our business, because I think if you define your business and drive your business based on feedback and insights that your customers give you, and you've got employees that you absolutely love and cherish and look after, you will ultimately drive a really fantastic business proposition. As a business during COVID, we made sure that even though we were working from home, even though we were working remotely, and we couldn't jump in our car and run out and see our clients the way we used to, we continued to deliver them exceptional service. And I think in the past week, we've been recognised by the Customer Service Institute of Australia as a finalist for service excellence. And I think that's something that both myself and the entire team at Thryv Australia are incredibly proud of. I think during the pandemic, it was more important than ever before to make sure that we were accessible and that we were available and we were there to support them, because the problems they'd never faced before. And sometimes they just wanted to pick up the phone and workshop an idea, but I think ultimately the recognition that we got as a team has been really fantastic. So I think the reason that we do what we do and the reason that most of you do what you do is because we genuinely feel like we're making a difference in the lives of business owners, and I think that's something that I'm really proud of, and super grateful that I had an opportunity to get up and kind of share my story with you today. Questions?
So, Elise, I was inspired as you talked about how you take your marketing company has transitioned now to also becoming a SaaS company. From your perspective, what has been the greatest challenge that you feel that you face as a company as you make this transition?
Do you know, I think as an organisation, the one piece, and it's probably something we've been centred on for a really long time, is listen to your customers and find out what's happening in the market. And I think sometimes we've probably been a little slower over the years at absolutely making sure that we've had our finger on the pulse. And I think making sure that we are understanding where the market's going and what things are doing. And I think there was a slide in there that kind of spoke through the journey of our business. And for 100 years, we were just a print business. And that was the crux of it. And the evolution of what has happened over the past sort of 20 years has been significant, and I've got no doubt that the next 20 years is going to be even faster and even more change. And I think for us, kind of having an eye on the prize of kind of making sure that we are really wedded to and listening to our customers has probably been the most important piece of that puzzle. And I think I'm incredibly proud of what we've kind of achieved over the past couple of years. And think if there was an opportunity to do it far earlier, it would have been fantastic. But I think when we did get that real sort of customer centricity about what we were doing and making sure that we kind of put our objectives to the side and just really understood our customers, understood the market and built solutions for it has probably been the best aspect of it.
As a follow-up to that, then, your salespeople, your representatives, have they found this transition to be easy or difficult for you? What's your perspective?
Have they found this transition to be easy or difficult for salespeople?
I think from a sales perspective, it's been probably an easier one that they've seen, because I think everyone uses technology. Everyone's got a phone in their pocket. Everyone's communicated with businesses online, received an invoice or a quote digitally from somebody. jumped on a website and spoke on live chat to somebody that potentially was a bot, not actually somebody on the other end of it. And so I think everyone was so used to interacting and engaging with different means of technology that I think that transition has been quite easy. And granted, we've invested a lot of time in training and coaching and developing our people, and I think for us, that's been probably a really important component of it, is that coaching and training and development piece of it. I think you can't just build something and expect it to be a success. You really do need to invest in your people and make sure you have the right support structures in place. Good questions. Yes.
Hi Elise, thank you, great presentation. It's Nikki from DPC. So I just wanted to follow up on the question with regards to investing on people. So I think regardless of the challenges of having great ideas, you really need your company and the people to deliver on the ideas and the goals. And you're mentioning on investing in coaching and the like. I guess I just wanted to understand, I guess helping our end as well as how specifically did you do your coaching, how regularly it is? And also a question on, do you feel like it's better to focus on investing on the current people in the organization, or is it about hiring from outside, looking for talent outside to build and get the expertise that you need to be able to achieve, again, because it's a transforming organization. So do you look outside, invest outside, or do you work and try to build from the people that you already have within?
Really good question. So I think for us as a business, and I think that's where the pandemic really did shift and change everything. We previously worked in a really big office and we had hundreds of people that you could run around the office and get people together and run training sessions and coaching sessions. But things really did change over the last couple of years, and I think one of the pieces that we really made sure we were doing was continuing to invest in our people. But in some of those respects, things were just done in a different fashion. I sent an SMS video to every single one of our staff members that went out at 10 o'clock this morning in Australian time, so a little bit earlier here, and give the entire business a video update on what happened last week, what are some of the success stories, what are some of the wins that happened. We make sure that we continue to run sort of our monthly updates and status meetings and things that we run, but we run them virtually. And I think the other aspect is we've got a capability team in Australia, so a team of coaches, and I think it is probably one of the ones for us that is a newer one, where we've got coaches right across the country who go out side by side with our consultants and help build the skills and capability of all of our people. And for us, it really is about investing in our current workforce and developing our current workforce, not necessarily looking for additional talent outside of the business. It has been sort of a program of work to build the skills and capability of the existing workforce.
Great, thank you. So you have this, so you're saying you built this coaching team within the organization, a specific team that are experts across disciplines to support your sales and other production and fulfillment teams.
Yeah, correct. So we've had them in place now for probably 5 or 6 years, so not completely new, although the way in which we deliver training has changed. It's now virtually and it's not in a physical classroom. But we've got a team of sort of coaches and trainers who are out there either on the phones or out on the road with our sales consultants, sitting side by side, teaching them how to do it, coaching them how to do it, training them how to do it, and really building best practice.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
I've noticed a change in the marketing positioning for Thryv over the years, and now you're a SaaS platform, right? So are you now a technology company or still a service company?
So we're definitely a technology SaaS company, but also at the same time, we still have our marketing services products that sit as part of our portfolio. So for us, it's not been sort of one or the other. It really is about connecting consumers with sort of the end customer. So definitely a SaaS company, but also very proud of our sort of directories and services businesses.
Elise, thank you for the presentation, great presentation. As you start to move forward, what's going to be your model of staff within your headquarters or within your offices versus being remote? Is it a hybrid, or are you looking to bring everyone back in?
We are a 100% remote working environment, so 100% work from home. COVID, so we were one of most locked down cities in the world. I live in Melbourne. We've spent nearly 2 years locked down for 23 hours a day. We kind of get our freedom for a few weeks and we'd be back into lockdown, and I'm sure lots of you can kind of reflect on your own experiences. But for us during that 2-year period, we were able to invest in tools and invest in our people and invest in processes to run our business remotely. One of the pieces that we did about 12 months ago was actually do an employment survey out to our staff, and we're really guided by our employees and put the option back in their hands. Did they want to come back to the office full time? Did they want to continue to work remotely? Or did they want to work kind of a hybrid model? And we kind of let our people define what the future operating model of the business was, but also let our people define what was working and what wasn't working and what we needed to kind of invest in to fix moving forward to ensure that it was the best operating environment. So definitely driven kind of by our people, 100% remote, but we do catch up kind of a couple of times a year in person.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What was the result of the vote?
93% remote working. Yeah. Feel like I'm in a room with all my old friends. I keep turning around.
Just a follow-up question. Have you seen any change in productivity? How have you found? Is it gone up?
It's gone up.
Yeah.
So productivity has been significantly increased. So it has been an incredibly interesting one. I think in the background, if someone had said, you're going to send a bunch of kind of younger 20-something-year-old people, you're going to get them to work remotely, work from home. I think had it not have been for COVID, there would have been a little uncertainty in our kind of thought processes saying, well, are they going to be working? And how am I going to kind of ensure that everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing? But I think as a business, we've seen a huge improvement in productivity, and that improvement is really driven because our people made the choice and our people wanted to do it, and we've got the right tools and structures and things in place to make sure it's a success. But ultimately, I think for us, it's been definitely the right decision. Josh.
Hi, Elise. So there is no doubt in my mind that in order for an all-in-one to be successful like Thryv, the crucial part is one, training your own staff, and second, training the SMBs. Now, the biggest challenge are really the SMBs because you need to take them by hand. And I will mention it when I will be on the stage that really this is very crucial now, is the COVID and working from home. Are you doing it all remotely or people are going actually, because with these SMBs you need to take them by hand, otherwise they do not do anything.
I was going to say I actually completely agree with you. So I think the world of technology is a really interesting one for some small business owners. Some of them embrace it, love it, run ahead, they can onboard themselves, they can utilise all the features, they're running marketing campaigns within days of using it. But other people really do need a coach, and I think for us, that's one of the pieces that we have done is to make sure that we do coach and support our customers, because for some of them, they've lived on carbonated paper for years. They've had their diary in the car with them for years. They haven't necessarily had a customer list and communicated with their customers, and being able to hold their hand and support them through that journey is really important. And I think for us, not only kind of the coaching and development of our people, but it is really important to kind of invest in your customers and help support them along the journey as well. But do it on their terms, and if they can onboard themselves and run campaigns themselves and you're giving them a different sort of advice, that's great. But for other customers, they want to hold your hand and they want you to be there to help them along the journey, and that's also great. But we also, from a face-to-face perspective, we are back out on the road. So the face-to-face reps are back out on the road in front of customers today. You're welcome.
Just one last question. So
Oh,
many of us sales reps, you have a lot of remotely, and many of your sales reps really go to clients and visit their clients.
So probably a 50-50 split across kind of the call centre and face-to-face. And I think geographically, Australia is a large sort of country. We might be a smaller population, but we're definitely spread out across the country. So we've got consultants in many, many markets, sort of north of 60 markets across the country that are face-to-face, but then have definitely a team of people who are kind of doing virtual appointments with clients or over the phone. So definitely sort of a 50-50 split there.
Great. Thank you.
No problems at all. Yes, Josh.
I'm hesitating.
You held the microphone. You knew you were going to have another question.
I'm hesitating because later you will ask me more difficult questions.
I
subscriptions because I think this is the way to go. So after the initial setup, how long are you still continue to support it? There is no question that with this kind of solution, the SMB is depending actually on you
Yeah.
for a long time, I hope. But the question is, you invest in the beginning and what's there? And I will explain later why I'm asking this question.
No, I completely understand. And I think it's like all of us in the room, or us that are old enough. So if we rewind the clock 20 years and somebody told us that we'd be doing all of our banking online and we'd be paying our bills online and everything that we did from a financial perspective would be online, we'd be a little nervous and a little scared, and I quite liked going to the bank, and I knew the local kind of bank tellers at my local bank branch, and I had a relationship with them, and I was comfortable enough to get cash out of an ATM, but doing kind of big transactions or applying for loans on my phone was kind of a foreign concept. And I think for most of us here today, no one has probably been into a branch in the bank in the last couple of months, and we all manage all of those kind of requirements from our pocket. And I think some of us would have embraced the technology straight away, and as soon as it was available, we were refinancing our loan from our pocket, and for others it kind of took a little bit longer. But I think it's that kind of initial coaching and setup piece, but once people are utilising it and embracing it, it needs to be simple, easy and elegant, that they don't need you to hold their hand kind of for the entire journey.
Thank you for the presentation. I'm very amazed the company have more than 100 years printing business to transition to the technology SaaS company. And I have questions for those SMB owners. They have a lack of IT literacy or very hard to understand those technology services. How do you efficiently onboard them or accelerate their product adoption to those owners?
And I think that's kind of a really good point, and one that in a general sense, it's not about overwhelming a small business owner and getting them to use a multitude of features all at once and confusing them. It's about educating them kind of on their terms and their way of doing things. And I think if we all speak to a small business owner and find out what is the biggest pain point, that thing that keeps them up at night, try and solve that problem, and that's going to take you kind of a long way to kind of building trust. And you can continue to build on it from there. But I think it is that kind of slow and gradual kind of onboarding process, and not necessarily going in there and trying to teach them absolutely everything, but just make it slow and gradual and kind of work at their pace. And for some people that pace is going to be super quick, but for other people it's just going to be a little slower and they'll pick it up on their terms.
Thank you. Additional question. For those small business owners, they don't know how to use Zoom, or so for example, your employees are working remotely, so it's basically the online meeting with clients, that's what I assume. But for those owners, they don't know how to use Zoom, like how do you talk to them regularly?
I was going to say it's kind of a multitude of channels. So whether it be over the phone, whether it be virtually, so from a Zoom perspective, whether it's a rep going out and doing it kind of in a face-to-face capacity, whether it's someone talking on live chat at 10 o'clock on a Friday night because that's the time that works for them. I think having that multi-channel approach so that you can work and kind of tailor it. And for some small business owners to start with, it may very well be over the phone or be face-to-face, or we may be educating them on how to use Zoom for the first time, and maybe a rep sitting next to them and teaching them those things. But I think it is about kind of supporting them on that journey and educating them about stories, kind of like the story I was saying about my son. My son doesn't pick up a phone and call it to anyone. He does everything from his pocket, and almost, if you want to capture those future generations, there's definitely additional channels that as a business owner you need to be investing now that 10 or 15 years ago you didn't need to.